I suspect that it's going to be that way for a long time in my life, that I never get to the most place, but I at least want more. Good morning, welcome to chapel. It is so good to be with you. I've missed you all over the summer. My name is Jess Bielman. You will see, for those of you who are returning students, you'll see less of me here than what you have in the past, but you'll still see me throughout the term. I'm the director of campus ministries. I'm also a professor in the Christian ministry program. This is the start of my 12th year at Warner Pacific College. I'm a year 2000 graduate of this fine institution, an ordained minister in the Church of God. I married my college sweetheart, and we have 2 kids. I love, a little bit about me, I love green tea. I tell my students in my classes, you can bribe me with green tea. I love sushi, rain, and baseball, and I just realized those last 2 don't go very well together. Although if there's a way I could have green tea and sushi while watching a baseball game in the rain, I think that would be, anyway. It just dawned on me, like, that would be the greatest day of my life. Today I want to introduce the chapel program, formally meet Michelle, and pray for our year. And I've asked a series of people to help me do that today. Before we get into this, I want to do a little business. For those of you returning, I want to remind you, if you're new, I hope this isn't the first time you hear this, but we have a faith and service policy. For those students who live on campus, we ask you to come to 15 chapels this semester, which is half of what we offer on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and do 10 hours of community service. For those of you who are commuters, we ask you to get to that same 25-hour mark, but how you get there, we give you some flexibility in the program. We ask you to come to at least 5 chapels, do at least 5 service, but the other 15 hours, based upon your convictions, based upon your availability, based upon what you want to be involved in, we give you some flexibility in that program. So in theory, you could come to 12 chapels and do 13 hours of service, or 11 and 14, or however the math works out. Any student has the opportunity to petition out of the chapel requirement if you cannot be in the building for some reason on Tuesday and Thursday. But no student has the ability to petition out of the service requirement. We just feel like that ought to be something we can all do, being members of this community. There's 2 questions I get in my years working in the chapel program. One is, okay, well, what is chapel? And the other is, what do I want from chapel? And I want to be very clear about those things this morning. As the president mentioned last Thursday, chapel is a unique place for our Christ-centered mission. You can find our commitment to Christ in all parts of this community, but this is a unique place for its focus. You will be asked the difficult questions about Jesus Christ in your life here. And we all need an opportunity to reflect and react to Jesus Christ for us. I want chapel to be one of the vibrant centers of community life here at Warner Pacific College. I want it to start conversations that continue at lunch, continue in classes, continue on the commute home, or continue in the residence halls. I want our community to see this time as a can't-miss space for meaning and purpose in our lives. I want staff and faculty to look forward to the opportunity in their work week to jump away for renewal and challenge. I want us all in the midst of our busyness to know that at least twice a week we stand before God in reflective reverence to contemplate our lives, to seek guidance, to ask for forgiveness, to be aware of presence. I want us to gleefully welcome our friends and neighbors and even enemies to this space with us. I want us to see this holy time as a time for the entire well-being of this community. So chapel is a unique place for our Christ-centered mission. And it also reflects our urban, diverse mission and community. It is anchored in the mission of the college. So it's a place for learning about our urban location, learning about our diverse mission, learning about what it means to be here at Warner. It is our largest gathering on the campus. As such, it is a place for us to respond as a community to major events of in the life of Warner Pacific College or in the life of our nation, two of which we reflected on last week briefly. One was the 50th anniversary of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. We talked about that. Our speaker talked about that here in chapel. That means something to us and in this community. We also had a passing of a student this summer. This is the space for us to reflect on those things. Chapel is at times our largest classroom. As a liberal arts college, we need to do some education for our community, and this is often the place where that happens. It's also a place to demonstrate and be our great community. Be community here. Be respectful, be kind, be appropriate. Sit next to someone you wouldn't otherwise. Chapel is a lot of those things, but chapel isn't a few things. Chapel isn't probably always what you want it to be. If what we do today is not your spiritual cup of tea, keep coming, because it changes. A student asked me, what are we doing in chapel this semester? And I said, if we're doing it right, there's a lot of answers to that question. Chapel isn't a substitute for church. For those of you who want a rich experience and expression of Christian worship and teaching and fellowship, this program is not a substitute for the risky but important venture of finding a home church here in Portland. I have some hopes and I have some expectations. For those of us who plan and execute chapel, we will give it our all. We will listen carefully to feedback. What we hope is for your presence. Not just physically, because there's a policy, but intellectually be present, emotionally be present, and be invested. Because together we will be challenged by the love of God to live into our mission for the city, to love each other beyond our comfort zones and boundaries. And we are all together in need of the opportunity to reflect and react to Jesus Christ for us. No matter what religious or non-religious, Christian or otherwise place you come from, we need to assess and reassess Jesus for us. For some of you, this place will allow you the space to ask the fundamental question, is Jesus the way for me? For some of you, Jesus has been expected in your life, but this community and this time and this place gives you the opportunity to decide for yourself whether that is true for you. For many of you, I know that Jesus doesn't interest you, and this time will be puzzling. I am long-term committed to Jesus as the way to do my life, do my job, raise my kids, try to love people, try to make the world a better place. But this Jesus is always asking me for more, always asking to dig deeper, always asking tougher questions, always dig into places I wish he'd get the heck out of. And I, Jess Bielman, ordained minister, need to discover Jesus again and again and again and again and again. I am so excited about this year. Our chapel program has a new leader. And Warner Pacific College has another pastor for its community. And today we get an opportunity to formally introduce Michelle Lang. And I am at the top of the list of people enthusiastic and supportive that she is here. She has been on a whirlwind since Warner Pacific College entered into her life in the last 2 months. And we're going to hear from her again in a minute about why Warner and why this time. But I want to have Dr. Glenn, our Vice President of Community Life, who was on our search committee. He is excited to be here, so he's going to introduce her for us.
Good morning, everybody. How you all doing? Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Okay, now, there's a couple things that happen sometimes when I'm on campus. People mistake me for Jess Bielman. And so I want to tell you something really quickly. I don't have a ponytail. I don't like green tea. I don't like sushi. I don't like the rain. I'm allergic to seafood and sesame seeds. And I'm not a real big baseball fan. So you would hear all these things and you would think that there's no connection between me and Jess Bielman. But I love Jess Bielman. And as a matter of fact, there's not a moment that goes on throughout a month where I say, Jess, I need some pastor time. Come talk to me. Come speak into my soul. Come speak into my spirit. Come speak into my heart. And so when he was articulating what chapel is and what it isn't, the challenging piece about chapel is you don't always have to connect with something for it to move you or for it to make an indelible mark on your heart. I'm going to segue and transition to Michelle because I only have a couple of minutes. I have been part of a team at Warner Pacific College, a very small writing team that has helped to restructure our mission, vision and value statement. And we just finished up the value statement. And one of the things that we have as a bullet, to me, is one of the most powerful things that it says in our new value statement. And once it goes to the board, you all will see it. It talks about Warner valuing the transformative power of the gospel. I'm going to say that again. Warner valuing the transformative power of the gospel. One of the things that I think is important when you think about chapel, and it's going to connect with my dear sister Michelle, that is, chapel is a place that can transform you. And what's so great about that is we all enter chapel at different places. So we're going to be transformed differently. But we will be transformed. This is my third year at Warner Pacific College, and oftentimes when I do come to chapel, I sit in the back. And I like to do that for a couple of reasons, because I want to see the whole audience. And I see people doing homework. I see people texting. I see people doing a lot of things that are not allowing the power of the gospel to transform them. And I just want to plead with you today, for the whole year, when you come into chapel, put the phones down. Put the iPads down. Put the books down. And be transformed by the power of the gospel. I get it, right? I thought I was too cool in church. I didn't want to be that person standing up. I wanted to sit back. But when I did that, the gospel didn't transform me in its full capacity. So I want you all to open up your minds, your spirits, your hearts to this work. This is a very important place, and this is not about games. We believe in the power of the gospel. We believe in the power of Christ, and we believe in what it can do to you in your life. But you have to be open to it, right? Why did I say that right before I introduced Michelle Lane? Because when I first met Michelle and talked to her on the phone, then interviewed her on campus, I wanted to be 18 years old again. I wanted to be 18 years old again, and for me, that's only 2 years ago. But I wanted to be 18 years old again. Hey, come on now. Says the man with a ponytail. But what I will say is this. I wanted to be 18 again because I promise you, this is one of the most amazing times to be at Warner Pacific, not just because of one individual. It's because of all of you and the work that everybody who works on this campus and who attend this campus are doing. But I wanted to be 18 years old again so I would have the opportunity to work with Michelle. And what's so great about Michelle is I don't care if you are a Christian, you are an atheist, you're agnostic, you are any other type of religious expression or persuasion, if you will. Michelle has something for you. And what I love so much about our work is she doesn't approach this work as dogmatic. She's not trying to force her beliefs on you. She's trying to meet you where you are and help you get to where you need to be. When I first started at Warner, I took Jess Bielman and Jared Valentine to Chicago, Illinois, to a college called North Park. And we spent some time with their campus ministries department. And their campus ministries department was the heart and soul of student affairs. Everything ran through their campus ministries. And we even went to kind of a chapel presentation. And once I was there, I said, this is what we need at Warner Pacific College. God, I don't know how we're going to get it. I don't know what your plan is for that. But if we could have this at Warner Pacific College, the transformative power of the gospel could reach new heights. Chapel at North Park University, and it's an urban college, it's multicultural, et cetera. It is jam-packed to capacity to the point that they don't even make it a requirement anymore. But if you're not there by their start time, you will be on the outside looking in. I'm not saying we're there, but I think Michelle and her leadership and her spirit has the capacity to help us become that type of institution. Well, we don't even require it. You understand that it is a necessity so you can transform yourself. And so when I first had a chance to meet with Michelle, she was asking a lot of questions. She was interviewing us, Jess and myself. And then we put a team of search folks together, Kelly Ballard, Jess, Kia Smith, and myself. And when we interviewed her on the phone, I said, we found the person. I knew it. I knew it. She was the baseline. Everybody else was going to be evaluated up against Michelle. And we had 135 people that applied for this position. 135 people who applied, who had some great qualifications and who could bring something to the community. But Michelle brought something special. So after the phone interview, we brought her on campus. She did a presentation for the staff, the faculty, and students who were available during those summer times. And she got going telling about her personal story. But the second half of her talk, I was so moved. She reflected the essence of who we are as a Christ-centered, urban liberal arts institution who provides education to a diverse student body. She's the embodiment of that. And what we wanted was somebody who also could do praise and worship. But we knew we couldn't put that on the resume because not on the job description, because we didn't feel like we could get the pastoral person, the administrator, and also praise and worship. We're like, God, that's impossible. There's no one who can do all that. Then we get Michelle. I do want to say this 30 seconds before I introduce Michelle up. I'm a Baptist preacher. I end 3 times before a session's over. This is important, though. And this is the Spirit's telling me to do this. The praise and worship, especially what Michelle brings to it, is not about entertainment. I'm going to say that again. The praise and worship, especially the way that Michelle approaches it, is not about entertainment. She's not here to entertain you, okay? And anytime I feel like the Spirit and the worship gets commodified and it's just entertainment, we missed our purpose. It's another branch to transform you through the power of the gospel. It's just like the word. So with that said, Michelle's the kind of person, you meet her one time, you feel like you knew her forever. So I've only known her for a couple months, but we go way back in my spirit and in my mind and in my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Associate Director of Campus Ministries, Michelle Lang.
Well, hello. What's happening? My name is Michelle Lang, and I do have a ponytail like Jess Bielman. But let me just give you Black Woman 101. That's probably only today. So don't be looking at my hair, because it'll be different every day. It's great to be here. I didn't have anything particularly prepared to share with you. Dr. Glenn and Jess have said so much so eloquently, but I do want to share a little bit about the story on how I got here. About a year ago, first of all, I'm from Seattle. I literally just moved into my apartment yesterday. My big screen TV is still on the floor. I've never had a big screen TV in my life, but that was my gift to myself. And I slept on the couch because I was like, there's nobody here, and I don't want to go in that room. So I just relocated from Seattle just yesterday. But let me tell you a little bit about my journey on how I got here. About a year ago, I was at breakfast with my best friend. And, we have breakfast like once a week, usually on Mondays. And we were just talking, just sitting there, chatting, laughing, just kind of doing what friends do. And out of nowhere, he says, "So how's life? How you doing? How's life?" And before I could stop the words from coming out of my mouth, I said, I'm lost. And he's like, what? I said, I don't know where that just came from. I said, I think I'm lost. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, that is really weird because I've been feeling some kind of way for quite a few weeks, quite a few months. But I think that's the first time I got to say, I feel lost. I said, I don't think God is displeased with me. I don't think I'm out of the will of God. I don't think anything's wrong. I'm not tired of my calling. I'm not tired of the work. I'm not tired of ministry. I'm not tired of any of that. But something in me feels lost, like I am not in the right place. And I was like, I don't think it's geographic. I don't think it's my job. I said, something about me just right now, I just feel like I am not in the right place. And I would go on Facebook. And so we just talked. We finished that conversation. And later on that day, I went on Facebook, and I was looking at people's, timelines and stuff. And I would see people come up, and they'd be having like these incredible things happening in their life. Like one of my friends lost 100 pounds, and another one just got his doctorate, and another one is having a new baby, and and stuff that I would look at, and I should be really happy about that stuff. But the more I saw it, I was just, it's like, I can't say it in chapel, but this is making me mad. And I was like, this is not okay. Something's wrong with a person who's not happy about great things happening in other people's lives. And it just cemented in me the notion that I am lost. Something is not right. And later in that week, I can't calculate the days quite right, but later in that week, I got an email from Jess. And Jess said, we're looking for someone for this position. Send us your recommendations. And I was like, okay. So I printed it out and I read it. And as I was reading it, God honest truth, I was like, man, this sounds like me. But I thought, they didn't ask for me. So I was like, okay, I'll think who I can refer. The next day, somebody from Warner called, Ben Sand called and said, okay, here's the deal. And I said, okay, I'll think about it. And I spent a couple days thinking about it. And I called him back and I said, I think I need to talk to you about coming to Warner. And long story short, I won't give you the rest. We have plenty of time. I'll be here a long time. We have plenty of time to talk about my story. But from the time I started talking to Warner about coming here, I believe I started getting found. I am positive, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that this is where I'm supposed to be, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing at this time in my life. And I'm thrilled and I'm thankful that you all are welcoming me this way so far. I don't know if I've ever heard my name this much. Amen. Aren't you sick of hearing Michelle Lang? So am I. I want to hear your name. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear your heart. I want to hear your feelings. I want to hear about your journey. I picked a theme for chapel this semester, and the theme is Discover Jesus Again. I'm very clear, especially since the season I just went through of feeling lost. I'm very aware that we are not all at the same place and at the same point in our spiritual journey, whatever that might mean. But as Jess said, and as Dr. Glenn said, I don't think there's ever been a time that it's not appropriate to discover Jesus again. And for some of us, that means discover him for the first time. For some of us, that means discover something new. For some of us, that means discover where I am in him. And so my hope and my prayer is in this season of chapel that we're going to enter into a journey that allows us to do that. As you can see, we have tons of speakers and different ways that we're going to present the transformative gospel. There'll be some speakers, there'll be some theater. There's even a day where you, the students, get to do spoken word, and you tell us where you are in this Discover Jesus Again journey. I don't want this place to be stale, and I don't want this place to be average. I want this to really be a place where you come and you breathe in such a way that it really does bring new life for you. Amen? Now, I said it the other day, and I'll say it again. I'm a black chick, in case you didn't get that. I'm Pentecostal, but I can hold it. But I look forward to those moments when we can just breathe in such a way where the spontaneous praise and the spontaneous worship of God breaks out into this room. Amen? And not just in this room, but in such a way that it happens in such a way in this room that it actually informs the rest of your life outside of this room. Amen? It's not about an event. It's not about a moment. It's about how Jesus infiltrates our life even beyond this 50 minutes twice a week. Amen? I understand that everybody's styles are different. I understand that everybody's tastes are different. I don't like wet chicken, and I don't like food on my face, since we're talking about sushi and other stuff. But some people love, when I say wet, you can okay, here's the thing. I don't like chicken on the bone, like, wing. You know how some people go crazy about wings and barbecue and ribs and stuff? I don't like that stuff. But I respect that some people love that stuff, right? I can accept that, right? And so I want you to know that I am well aware that we don't all like the same stuff. But my hope and my prayer is that we'll have enough going on in these moments that everybody gets what they need and what they like, or you discover something that you like that you didn't know you liked. Amen? Amen? All right. So that's all I have to say. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm excited to be here. I look forward to meeting each and every one of you as God would allow. And I just pray that you will be patient with me as I get to learn a whole lot of stuff and a whole lot of people in a short amount of time. Amen? Amen. Let's welcome Jess back.